up a continental boundary.
But critics fear an attack on American sovereignty, a super NAFTA, with borders erased between three very different countries with no public oversight. Texas Congressman Ron Paul is a rare voice of concern on Capitol Hill.
We're not supposed to give this to the executive branch devising quasi-type of treaties that the Congress seems to not have any control of, and then it turns out to be managed trade for big corporations and not to benefit to our workers and to our people.
The House International Relations Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee have not held hearings on this, and a high-level conference this month in Banff was closed to the press. Critics raise concerns about secrecy, but the plan has a website, spp.gov, highlighting myths and facts. Without explaining how, it says the Canadian-Mexican-U.S. partnership does not attempt to modify our sovereignty or currency, nor undermines the U.S. Constitution, but would create jobs by reducing transaction costs and unnecessary burdens for U.S. companies. Robert Pastor says a more open public discussion would quiet what he calls conspiracy theorists.
A North American Union is impossible. None of the three governments or countries are interested in unifying into one country.
He says the goal is more cooperation. But that doesn't quiet the concerns about this cooperation or what it's going to look like. Just yesterday, Congressman Virgil Goode of Virginia introduced a resolution opposing a NAFTA superhighway and various elements of a North American Union, as the critics call it. And Robert Pastor, he says you're one of those critics. You're part of a conspiracy theory that it just is not founded.
That I'm a conspiracy theorist? That's very flattering on the part of Mr. Pastor. What he is an out-of-control elitist who hasn't been elected or in any way nominated by this government to do a darn thing that he's doing. And the fact that this administration and some of this country's largest corporations are pushing ahead with this, with some of Canada's leading elites and Mexico's, there is not a single thing in this that even remotely has legitimacy. And the fact that this Congress, thank goodness that Virgil Goode stepped up here, the fact that this Congress is not demanding an investigation into this right now is sickening. This is elitism run rampant, and it's just, to me, it's just inexplicable why it's being tolerated. Pastor, what's his qualification?
He's studied North America and its institutions for 30 years.
Ah, good. And this is his conclusion after all that study at the Council of Foreign Relations. Thank you very much, Christine Romans. That brings us to the subject of our...
Susan, I want to switch gears, talk about this other issue that's out there, the creation of a new North American Union, if you will, similar to the EU, the European Union. The President was asked about this today at the summit meeting with the leaders of Mexico and Canada. Listen to what he said.
I'm amused by the difference between what actually takes place in the meetings and what some were trying to say takes place. It's quite comical, actually, when you realize the difference between reality and what some people are talking on TV about.
All right, well, what is the background? What's going on here?
Well, Wolf, there's a lot of talk on the blogosphere and conspiracy theorists who believe that this summit was really a secret plot, if you will, to establish a super government in support of big business, that even there would be some sort of super highway that would be traveling through all three of the countries. All leaders got quite a bit of a chuckle out of this one. We even heard from Prime Minister Harper, who said, look, they manufacture, the rules for manufacturing jelly beans are different than Canada as well as the United States. If you standardize the jelly bean, it's not a threat to Canada's sovereignty. So obviously, a lot of suspicion on the part of what this summit was really about, but they assured people, look, there's nothing really to worry about.
A lovely time of the year to visit Quebec. Thanks very much, Suzanne, for that report.
our political parties, the NDP, the Bloc Québécois, by the way, is supporting the Amero. The Amero is a monetary instrument that is planned to be a common currency in North America. And they all, again, lie and tell us it's not happening. Well, it is. My information is it's already coined. It exists in a bank in, I forget the name of the bank now, in the United States. What is going to be the bank that controls the currency will probably be a new bank, or maybe the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, of course, is not federal. It's not accountable to the people. It's a conglomeration of private banks who rule. It will mean the end of our Bank of Canada. A primary platform of the Canadian Action Party is helping the people to understand the power for the people that exists in our treasure, our jewel of an instrument called the Bank of Canada, that delivered so much for a number of decades in this country, but has been used less and less since the 70s.
This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the infamous Rockefeller banking and business dynasty. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas Rockefeller, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned about the Rockefellers and their ambitions.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, "Would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers?" I said, "Sure, I'd love to." And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we can run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished. Chavez they didn't accomplish. And he said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he was laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because it's an eternal war. And so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He said, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just that you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and it's all one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. Now, I would say, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say, what do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said, the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip. And have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
That's right, microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called War on Terrorism, passed the REAL ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008 you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes on it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a Verichip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet.